welcome back to Yarn Creations. I'm Crystal, and I just wanted to come on here. We're going to do a little tutorial on a pocket shawl that I found that I thought was really simple, and it's such a great looking pattern. I'm actually going to show you how we would do the pocket. I'll get you started on that because the actual shawl itself is crocheted the same way. The great thing about this pattern is that it can be worn, like you can choose either side to be your right side because it kind of has a kind of unique pattern on both. At the end I will show you a sample of it, or maybe I'll put a picture up in the corner here somewhere so that you can see what I'm talking about and what it looks like. So the pattern itself is it's done by crochetaydreams.com. So she has a blog on there, and she also does tutorials as well, and she has some crochet patterns that are available. So I will put the link in the description for that. So to get us started, I have already chained 38. So that's what you would chain for the pocket. And then for the actual shawl itself, you would chain like 290. I think it's multiple of 4 plus 6. But again, I will have the link in there so you can go right to the written instructions for the tutorial. And it's basically just a repeat kind of once we get through the first couple rows, it's just a repeat between two different rows. So it's fairly easy, and we're only using double crochet and front post single crochet. Alright, so we'll get started here. So I've done my chain 38. So then the next thing that we're going to do is in the second chain from the hook, we are going to put one single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to actually skip the next 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're just going to single crochet into that next chain, and then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next one, 1, 2, 3, and then we skip 3, and then a single crochet. So we're just going to keep repeating that process back and forth until we get to the end. Okay, so that should take us to the end of our stitches here, and then we're just going to finish with a single crochet. Okay, so on to row 2, we're going to chain 2. So this stitch is actually going to count as a double crochet here and count as our first stitch. So then we're going to go and we're going to do another double crochet into that same stitch, that first stitch that we just did there. Okay. So now we're going to skip this chain 3 loop that we did here, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into that single crochet that we just did there. So 1, 2, and then 3, and then again that's going to be the same process. So we are just going to keep doing 3 double crochets into that single crochet after the chain 3. And so we literally just skip this loop. We don't do anything with it. We're not going to add any extra chains. We're just going to go right into that single crochet there. And we put 3 into that. So this, the 3 double crochets that we're putting into this single crochet is what's making up for the chain 3 loop that we have here. So then our stitch count still stays consistent. The last single crochet, we actually want to put 2 double crochets into that stitch. And that completes our row 2. So for row 3, now we're just going to chain 1. That does not count as your first stitch. And we're going to single crochet into that very first stitch there. We're just going to do 1 single crochet. And then we're going to chain 3. So we're kind of doing what we did at the very beginning there for our foundation row, our first row. So we're going to do the chain 3. And then this is where the front post single crochet comes into place. So we are actually going to, in the middle, like in the, out of the 3, the cluster of 3 double crochets here, we're going to go and do a front post single crochet around the middle one. So you just enter in through the front. Sometimes people get confused and they think that's the back, but if you were doing a back post, you would actually come in from behind your work. So we're doing a front post, so we're going to come in through the front, and we're just going to come in around behind, and we're going to pull up a loop, and then we're just going to finish off our single crochet. So we're just going to repeat that same process all the way till we get to the end. So we're going to do a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to take that second double crochet in the middle and do a front post single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and we're back to our cluster. Go into the middle one, go in and come up from behind, grab your yarn. Now we have 2 loops, and then we just complete our single crochet. And we're just going to do that all the way across. And then once we get to the end here, we're going to do our chain 3, and we're just going to do 1 single crochet into our last stitch here. There we go. And that is, so you can kind of start seeing the texture that it's creating on the one side. And like I said, on the other side, you can still, like, it's really neat how it works out. So that is row 4. So row 4 is a repeat of our second row, but I'll just show you again. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do a double crochet into that first stitch, and that chain 2 actually does count as a double crochet. And then, but this time we're working into our front post single crochet instead of just our single crochet. So again, we're not going to chain anything. We're just going to go right into that stitch that we did the front post. And we're going to put 3 double crochets into that stitch. To straighten up my yarn, there we go. Okay, so again, we're just going to move on to the next front post single crochet that we did in the previous round. And we're going to do our 3 double crochets. So once you finish row 4, you're going to go back and you're going to do row 3 again. And then you're just going to jump back and forth between row 3 and row 4. And that is the pattern for this pocket shawl. Like, it's really neat. It has quite a nice texture. So I'm just going to pause the video here for one moment. I'm going to finish up this row, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you a sample of the one that I did, and then I'll show you the finished row. Okay, so we're just in our last stitch here on row 4. So again, when you're on doing this row, you're always going to do 2 double crochets in that last stitch. So just like how at the beginning where I say that first, the chain 2 counts as a double crochet, well, that's kind of like evening it out. So we have 2 double crochets on each end. Okay, so yeah, so you'll see I brought my other sample here, but that is the pattern for this pocket shawl. I think it's lovely. All right, so I'm going to now kind of give you a close-up of the pocket. I don't want to show you the whole shawl because it's technically a Christmas present and I haven't given it to the recipient yet, and she may watch this video, she may not. So I don't want to expose the whole thing, but this just kind of gives you an idea of what the texture is. So I mean, this is the side that I chose that kind of has that more defined like ridge on it. But I mean, again, if you kind of look at the inside, I mean, you could use, oops, not in a really great view there, but you can use that pattern as well. So I mean, it is kind of a really versatile pattern, which is really neat. I like that, you know, you can kind of, but I mean, once you decide, you kind of got to stick with it because you're going to sew it onto your pocket shawl and then you won't be able to see that other side. So, but yeah, so that is the tutorial for today.